It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
All right, we got one from Scott
Okay.
on YouTube. He says, when did you first begin saving for retirement? And what percent of income did you start at? How, if any, did this percent change as time went on and all of the factors that play into these decision making? I think that's a really good question.
How would you feel if you answered this first?
I would love to.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, so as I was sharing on the first part of this Q&A, I did not start investing or saving till retirement till I was 26, 27.
Okay, yeah,
It was a little bit later. I think it was 27.
Sure.
Because it was after I met you guys.
Uh-huh.
But how did that change over time? Obviously, went from zero to something. And it has changed a little bit because I think that when you start, obviously we say get to 20 to 25%. That's kind of the Money Guy rule because especially as your income is going to go up, hopefully the burden of retirement and funding that is going to fall on you.
Sure.
So 20 to 25% is our goal. We did not start at 20 to 25%. Okay, we didn't. It just wasn't possible at the time until you kind of shuffle some things around. And my husband's job has kind of gone, he has chosen to pursue some dreams. And so that changed our finances, like you said. And so in the beginning of his pursuit, we were not saving 20 to 25%. Now that we're kind of further down the road, a year in, we are a lot closer.
Sure.
Also, if you have an employer match, you could kind of count that towards that if you're under 45. Is that right, though?
That's right, yep.
I think so. So that's kind of how we've done it. We've tried to be realistic in the sense that, if you're just starting, we understand that you're not going to, go from 0 to 60 right away. And sometimes a life circumstance could be a temporary few months of not maybe hitting your goal and being realistic about that, but then also setting a goal to get back to it. What else would you add to that?
I think that's wonderful. My story is a little bit different than yours because I had an unfair advantage. If you guys have listened to the show for any point in time, that Brian had this, what he calls the Mr. Morrow moment. He had this high school gym teacher that said, if you want to be a millionaire, I'm so jealous, you just got to save $100 a month. And so that clicked in Brian's head, $100 a month, I can go do that. He didn't realize that was saving for retirement. He was just trying to save to be a millionaire.
Right.
Well, for me, mine actually started when I was either 17 or 18 years old. I recognize that's super young, but here's my unfair advantage. When I went to the University of Georgia, which is the finest university in all the land, I actually was fortunate enough to study financial planning. I actually was a financial planning major at the University of Georgia. And I remember the very first investments class I sat in, I learned what a stock was and I learned what a bond was. And we had this thing where we could go pick imaginary stuff and watch how it tracked. Well, again, just because of the generation in which I grew up, it wasn't so hard to go open up a brokerage account. You could go, this was back in the day of the $7 brokerage account. Some of you guys that are my age, or $7 trades, you'll know who I'm talking about. Well, I immediately went up and opened that and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to start saving $20 a month. I had no rhyme or reason to that. And I just started buying. I don't even remember what it was. It was it had growth in the name, right? But $20 a month. And then when I took my next financial planning class, I learned about a Roth IRA. And I was like, instead of doing that, I'm going to do a Roth. And that's when I started doing, I think it was $50 a month in college into a Roth IRA in a low-cost index fund. And what happened for me is I got to watch that move in 2008, and 2009, 2010, 2011, and I was like, holy cow, this is insane. Whoa, if I'm saving $50 a month and it turned into this, what would happen if I started doing $100 a month? And what if it was $150? And that was the natural progression. And then once I got into the career field, I recognized, okay, well now I've got access to a 401k and I can start doing percentages of my salary. That's sort of how it changed for me. But one thing I would tell young folks is it's often not a straight line. You'll start being like, okay, great, I'm maxing out my Roth, awesome. And then something happens. Your car goes out and you got to replace it. Or, oh man, I finally hit my 20%. And then you have a baby. Or then, and life happens. That's okay. 20 to 25% should be the horizon line that you're constantly working towards. Early on, though, things are going to pull on you. Houses, jobs, careers, family, all these things might cause you to deviate. If, though, when you deviate, you can recognize it and get closer back to that baseline, you're going to set yourself up for long-term success. So even if you're a 30-year-old out there, a 40-year-old, and you've not started saving, Don't let 20 to 25% be something that's so daunting that you decide to do nothing. Start somewhere.
Yes.
Because every dollar you save can be powerful. Just coincidentally, $2 can be more powerful.
Yeah.
And 5 can be more, and 10, and so on. Just start doing something and figure out how you can get better at it through time.
Love it.